Hi, babe.
Hi.
How are you tonight?
I'm doing okay. How about you? You just got a really good phone call.
I did. We got through planting all the wheat we wanted to plant before the rain, and
Oh my
now we
gosh.
just got to hope we ordered the rain right.
How has this plant gone?
It's gone pretty good, really, overall. We've gotten along good and hadn't had any major breakdowns. Had several small ones, but it's gone good. Been a little short-handed.
Yeah.
And had a little change in the program that left us a little short-handed, but we spread out and got it done, and everybody pulled their weight. And we worked late, but we didn't run all night or anything. So, but it's probably one of the driest wheat plantings we've ever had.
Really?
Probably only happened one or maybe two other times in my career, so it's been a little different. It's been nice not to have to dig mud or be able to drive out in the field and get, load them or whatever we need to do. So that's been a big change. But we had some guys step up and pull, really went over and above and got it done in a timely manner. And everybody's home early tonight, so
Good.
getting to rest a little bit and hoping for a rain.
You got home way early.
Yep.
So with the dry, will it make a good crop?
We had a long ways to go before we know that, but normally when we have a dry fall is when we make a better wheat crop, but we have to get rain to get it up before then, or it doesn't matter.
Okay.
So
we pray for rain.
Yep, the last time this happened, it didn't rain all the way until it came up on a snow in January. Mm-hmm. So that's pretty rare.
My parents were in this weekend, and I got up early on Sunday to have coffee with them. And you slept till around 9 o'clock.
Yeah.
I don't think you've done that since pandemic.
Yeah. Well, I woke up about 5 and stayed up for about an hour and a half and then went back to sleep.
Yeah. But I was just meaning you've not been here, you've not had sleep, you've kept your workouts going.
Yeah.
And I think it just hit on Sunday.
Yeah,
I was like,
a little bit of catch up.
Everyone be quiet. Like, I just needed you to get some sleep.
Yeah,
I was glad. I needed my coffee, though.
I couldn't believe it when I woke up. It was 9 a.m. I was like, what the heck? I've slept half the day.
Yeah, and the cat was in our hallway because usually you come out first. So our cat was like, what the hell? Like, he was so pissed.
He thought I'd disappeared.
He does that, mama, mama. Like, he does 2 syllables looking for you. Yeah. So funny.
He wouldn't quit either.
No, he wouldn't. I didn't know if you could hear him, but I was like, I couldn't get him to stop. But then I was like, it is 9 o'clock, so I bet you he wants to be up.
Oh, yeah.
Because I don't think you would like to wake up and see 10.
I'd way past my Diet Coke time.
You'd be pretty frustrated. Yeah. So it was nice to see you catch up a little bit.
Yeah, it felt good. And so you've had a good week, too.
Yes. So
with your project.
If you're new listening, I'm renovating a home and have been for the past 17 and a half years. And I'm nearly finished.
Yeah.
And it's been a good week. I had some help. I went to the gas station Tuesday and I had like 4 drinks and 3 sandwiches. And Mindy was like, what are you doing? I was like, girl, I got a crew today. I had Lily from school and her dad devoted the day. So we got a lot done. And really, that's it. I had even confided in her. I was like, it's just when you tell someone you're renovating a home, they ask you, how long have you been doing it and when's it going to be done? And so you just feel rushed. You know, like with your job, you're going to be doing it for the next 40 years.
Yeah.
With, anyone's job, they just do it all day and then they show back up the next day. There's not like a finite finishing point. And with the house, it's like, you should have been done. With a man like mine, you should have been done with this. And she's like, it's just you though. Like, why would you be done with that big old house?
Yeah, it has been a major undertaking for sure.
It's been a lot. So, but anyways, I'm just keep showing up. It's getting real tough because it's the end. Everything screams when it dies. We all know that. It's darkest before the dawn.
Yeah.
And there was even a day in there where I just sat on the bathroom floor and was like, should I just contract out the last 6% of this project, after a year and a half? And I was like, no, it's not. These feelings are not for me to pivot. These feelings are to put my head down and finish strong. So that's what we're going to do.
And we had, with the economy like it is and interest rates up, we didn't really know what the value of the house was going to be, but we got pretty good call or I guess an email on that today.
No, our cousin is a real amazing land guy in our area and knows what he's doing. And he actually took the time to put pen to paper and look at comps and sent us a nice breakdown of what we could list the house for. And I just lost it. I would just for so long wondering and kind of guessing what I would list it at. And it came in well above that. And so I was just really, really excited.
Yeah.
Really excited that I could list it for that and know it had basis behind it, It's not just what we're wanting out of the house. It's a good, strong, solid number backed up, with comps and stuff. And then on the same day today, we got water. And so we've had faucet, and one of the janky faucets in the front has had water, but now I've got water throughout the whole house. So I can finally get that thing clean.
Right. I know you're ready.
So it was a big day.
Yeah.
Such a good day.
The dust never quits falling in that type deal.
No, Lily, that's kind of her job she likes to do is clean. And she got real frustrated the other day. She's like, I just mopped in there. It doesn't even look like I've mopped. I'm like, Lil, it's pretty much like a new build. We took it to the studs. So it's going to take you 4 or 5 times to even start seeing the floor. So
I'll tell you what, I've watched you struggle and do good, but one thing about it, you have learned a lot about yourself, and about repairs, and all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, I really have a lot of knowledge. That's what I wanted. I wanted to know, is this the profession for me? Would this be the first house of many? And that answer is no, and a resounding no.
Yeah.
And
you did pick a doozy, just to be fair, for the first one.
Who picked it?
You picked it.
Who picked it?
You picked it.
Everyone listening knows who picked it, and it was not me. Gosh, it was a big old ugly house, and it has taken so long.
You accepted the challenge.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Everything else would be easy compared to them.
Yeah.
But yeah, so just even yesterday, I went over there for 30 minutes. I was like, I always feel like I've got to put like 8 to 10 hours in, and my back can't take it. I'm exhausted. My back can't take it. Like, my back is my main. It is really getting to my back. Yeah. And you would think my back would be getting stronger with all the work that I've done on it. So who knows about that? But anyway, so
walking on a roof might be
walking on a roof. Yeah, maybe. But so 2 days ago, I was saying I went over there and just did 30 minutes. I did 2 transition floor pieces in the doorways, and painted this wall. I had done some touch-ups on this wall, and you could see it right when you walked in the room. I guess I used a different finish from a year ago. Who knew you could forget finishes in a year span? And so anyways, I finished painting that wall. It only took me like 30 minutes. Yeah. And I left. I was like, that's what I want to do today. And so anyways, that's what I've learned too. It's just, doesn't matter if you can't show up fully today, just show up.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, it has been mentally taxing at times for sure.
Yeah, I cannot wait.
It's going to be like retirement.
I'm telling you, I'm going to be the hottest stay-at-home wife you have ever seen in your whole life. And I used to get embarrassed when people say, what do you do? I'd be like, a lot, okay? Like, I would get defensive. I'm sure I didn't, but in my head, that's what I wanted to say. And now, after flipping this house for a year and a half, I'm going to be like, I stay home and do laundry. I do laundry all day. Piles and piles of laundry. Yeah. And then I feed our cat, and then I read a book. Like, that's what I'm going to say now. I cannot wait to be a stay-at-home mom again.
Yeah, it'll be a relief for sure.
And you're like, bullshit. How long will it last, hon?
Not long.
Yeah.
You'll get a little reprieve and you'll be ready to do something else.
Yeah, at least a month. Let's be a stay-at-home wife for a month at least.
So have you stayed on budget?
Uh-huh. What'd you say?
Have you stayed on budget?
You tell them that story.
You tell them.
Well, first of all, We just happened to be two alpha Caucasian males married to each other. And so we, wrestle it out on who's the main alpha that lives here. It gets to be tough sometimes. And so he has his hand in everything. He's in charge of everything. But when it comes to this house is mine. Like, he doesn't have anything to do with it. If I need him to have something to do with it, like if I need him, he's going to be there. He's going to drop all of his stuff to come be there for me. But as far as making decisions or knowing much about it, he just doesn't. And that's important to tell you this story. And so I had sat down, I had like 60 receipts in my glove compartment box, and I had sat down and totaled it, put it all into a spreadsheet, and totaled my expenses for the past year and a half. And I text you, like a guessing game, what are my current, up-to-date, year-to-date expenses? And you immediately text back, I don't know, I'll have to check my statements. And it pissed me off so badly that you thought you had statements on my project, and I was like, in all the stuff that you have going on can't be enough for you. Like, you have to pretend like you have my stuff too. So I called you and I told you all of that. And I was like, what statements would you even have? And you were like, well, you're laughing. You're like, I didn't know if you wanted me to like check the credit card statements or what you want me to do. And I was like, no, I was playing a guessing game. Where do you think I'm at? And you said, before I could even get done, you go 105. And that equally made me just as fighting mad, because the number was 103. And it made me so mad that here I'm telling you, like, you don't know anything about this. You don't have a hand in it. You act like you do. And here you got it within like $2,000. Oh, so, so frustrated. I was like, he's my special rain man. And I was like, how? He's like, I don't know. How do you do it, honey?
I'm just tracking what you tell me.
Yeah.
Kept up with it.
Pisses me off.
Well, I'm glad you're getting to the finish line.
Yeah.
I really am proud of you for getting it done and ready for you to get it sold and get it out of sight and out of mind.
Yeah, we set the budget a year and a half ago. We set it at 100.
Yeah.
And, we're not done with this house. And so today when we're running numbers with each other, when we get the new list price, we're running numbers with each other. And he kept saying, so put 120 on the house, put 120 on the house, put 120 on the house. And I was like, he knows that budget is not staying at 103. It's not staying at 103.
No, there might have been a few things you neglected.
I'm going to pay you back for it.
You are.
I'm going to pay you back for all of that over the budget.
So you mentioned your parents are here, but you also made a road trip.
Yeah, to see them.
Not a road trip, but a trip.
Yeah, several, my sister and her husband and my nephew and his girlfriend that doesn't go with that sister, goes with my other sister. We're all going to go visit my parents in Montrose, Colorado. And so they texted me about a month beforehand and said, do you want to come? And do y'all want to come? And I was like, yes. And you said, we can't. That's wheat plant. And so I knew if I went, I was going to have to go by myself. And so as it got closer and closer, we'd be like watching Better Call Saul, and I would just kind of look at flights, And I had found some pretty good priced ones, but just couldn't pull the trigger on them. And I dragged my feet, and I just kept being like, it's okay. But the closer it got, the more I wanted to go there, and the easier things seemed. Like, I didn't have anything with the kids. We didn't have Hartley. You were going to be on a planter. I wasn't really needed anywhere. And I was like, gosh, it just couldn't have been a more perfect weekend for me to just hop on a plane and go. So I did. I surprised them, called them, and told them when I was landing, and they were so excited. And it was just such a 10 out of 10 relaxing. They're all just so easy to be around. My nephew, I haven't gotten to spend much time with his girlfriend. They've been dating for like 7 years, I think. And I haven't ever gotten to spend good time with her. And now I can say that I have. We've gone on hikes and just been together for meals and shared meals, and it was just really nice. And I was so thankful to you, because once you heard I wanted to go, even though I kept trying to back out, you wouldn't let me. And I kept telling them, like, I wish he was here, and he's the only reason I'm here. That's what I kept telling them. And they wished you were there too. They kept saying it too.
It's a lot of fun to go.
Yeah. It was hard because Cam, she's like 2.5 hours from there. So I figured she would surprise me and come in. But she got really sick the day I got there. But she kept sending audio messages like we're on a walkie-talkie. She was like, we're so close. And she would like mimic the walkie-talkie sounds and be like, I'm by the fire, over, And so luckily she's coming in. So if she wasn't, I don't know how we would have done that,
And so she's coming in for a big reason. I think we maybe mentioned it earlier, but
I think so. I think either we said or Cam said herself. I can't keep track at this point, but yeah, she is coming in for 7 full days, and we're going to take her down. She'll have her pre-op appointment for her surgery on her face, which will be number 11 or number 12 with a new surgeon here in Dallas. And we'll take her to her pre-op, head on down to Fort Worth, and have an awesome weekend in Fort Worth together. And then she'll have her surgery on Monday, and then she will recover Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday she'll get on a plane. And we are ready.
Yeah.
Like, we're just so excited to be slugs on the couch together during that recovery and watch movies.
And fun.
I always have to watch other people take care of my person. And so when she called and said, I'm going to Dallas for the surgery, it was just really emotional and important that I finally get to be the one to drive her and take care of her. And so,
well, it's exciting that she's gonna get it done and found somebody that hopefully can fix her breathing problem and finally get it all right. And you might mention the GoFundMe part of it.
So right when we found out about the surgery, we knew that it could cost around $20,000, but that he was going to convince the insurance the surgeon he's like, that's my specialty. I'm really good at getting insurance on board. And it turns out he couldn't get this one. And so her whole inner circle, her grandpa called me. He's like, I don't want to see her cry. I cannot see her cry again. She's got, she's disappointed. They said they can't get insurance. Enough is enough. We're doing this. We're paying. And so we all just kind of hands in decided. And he said, why don't you start a GoFundMe? So I did that, I don't know, 3 weeks ago. And everyone has just been, oh my gosh, just to watch. And I know that this surgery is going to be successful because I can see God's hand in every part of it, but I can absolutely see God's hand and favor in how he brought the funds to her, through who he brought them. And it's been a blessing to me to watch her be so trusting of him and to surrender. I just said, I was like, make the appointment, and she's like, I don't have the money. I'm like, just make the appointment. We'll get the money, like make it. And it was like, as soon as she made that first appointment, she just never really looked back. And so everybody's just been watching her trust God, which causes us to trust God more fully. And the stories that are coming out of it, I think I'm going to see if we can record while she's in.
Yeah, that'll be good.
Yeah, it's been really impressive. And anytime, her grandpa is the one that's got this all started. And anytime I have him in my phone as Marlboro Man.
Yeah.
Because his brother was the actual Marlboro Man. And Joe looks like the Marlboro Man to me. If y'all saw him, you would think that. And anytime I see that on my phone, Marlboro Man, I'm just answer as fast as possible because he's calling to tell me of some more money that has come in. And it's just been such a big blessing.
It really has.
Yeah.
There's been people come from everywhere, and she's really loved.
Yeah.
She has a big following, and she deserves every bit of it.
Yeah, just this lady that lives down the street sent a check today for like $500, and I text her. I was like, "You are so loved. Like, he loves you. Like, his favor is upon you." It's just been so neat to watch. So we'll have updates on that.
Yeah. So last night we went out to eat late.
We had a date.
We had a quick date, and so we got to having a conversation, and we were talking about what I call front running, basically. Smoothing things over for your spouse or keeping things smooth for your spouse. And what did you were calling it? What?
Codependent. Yeah. So I was raised. I have codependent parents.
Yep.
Would you say that you do?
Probably so, yeah.
I would have to kind of unpack that with you, exactly how it goes with yours. But it definitely is generational, I'm sure. But I think we've talked about it on here before, but I just really thought codependent was just you depend on each other and you just kind of, what I thought codependency is actually enmeshment, and codependency is just kind of running around someone, making sure they don't feel the consequences of their own actions. Yep. And I've seen that. I've had a front row seat to that my whole life. And so something happened this weekend between you and one of my kids. And I was face down the barrel of, do you want to fix this for him? Because in that codependency, anytime there was something between me and one of my parents, the other one would come at me on their behalf. And so I felt that need to go at her on your behalf. Yeah. And I stopped myself. I was driving her home, and I just stopped myself. I was like, "No, ma'am. Like that, I didn't like it being done to me. I am not going to do it to her." And so I just tried to decide how to pick my words to where I honored you and respected you, but left it between the two of you, that you guys could talk about it as well. And it was really, it was new and interesting. And of course, I probably didn't do it right, but I did try to pick like a new set of words.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think you did a good job on it. And I think sometimes a deal like that works itself out too without, you left it alone, and it would have worked itself out. And it also, gives me an opportunity to, to kind of make something right just over something that I didn't really even understand or see.
Sure.
So,
well, I know in codependency, the one is making excuses, consistent excuses for the other. And I didn't want to make an excuse for you, but I knew exactly what was going on. Yeah. And so I just tried to explain that, whether right or wrong, I know for certain that Jay would never do anything to upset you. But I can tell you that this is what was going on. Like, I know exactly what he was doing. And when I explained to you what had happened, you said that sentence. You were like, "Oh, I just thought." Yeah. And I was like, "That's what I told her." But the way you have to deliver that is so tricky, because if you have a tone, if you're defensive, if you sound like you side with one over the other, it gets a little tricky.
Well, and there's been times in our marriage that there just wouldn't have been any way out of it. It would have,
no.
He would have been a dust up, whatever happened,
Me and you?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, you might be right, huh?
Yeah.
Oh, gosh, I hadn't even thought about that.
Yeah.
So that's pretty wonderful, huh?
Yeah. We've taken another step.
Huh. That's pretty good, huh, babe?
Yeah.
But stuff like that, honey, is all the way around. Yeah. I've seen stuff like that in our marriage and in our family, and I think it is our two oldest ones going away to college. It's created a shift. Yeah. And in the shift, it's like things that maybe we wanted to get right all these years. It's like we just had so many other things, or maybe we didn't have time to kind of stop and turn a page into something different, even though we wanted to. But them going to college just kind of forced a few pages along, And I've been reflecting a lot lately that there are things that are very different in our life.
Yeah. Well, I think too the way we were raised, and maybe how our parents were, maybe how our first marriages are, have made us both the type of people like we're trying to smooth for each other if there's something rocky's going on, and maybe trying to smooth for our kids. But I don't feel like we're to the point like we get them, try to get them out of anything or not have to go through something. But at the same time,
we used to be
for sure
a lot worse.
Oh yeah,
yeah, with our kids.
And most of that, I think, was internal, though. When it came to life and them having to deal with stuff at school, they kind of had to deal with a lot of it on their own. We weren't.
I mean, between us.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Like, if I was frustrated with one of your kids, it would just send you. And if you were frustrated with one of mine, it would send me.
Sure.
We could, and I think there was a lack of trust. Yeah. And now that we have so much more trust, and I've convinced you, I knew you loved my kids, but I don't know if you knew I loved yours, just because of probably your personality. It took you longer to be able to see me act one way, and then, you know what I mean? Like, there are a lot of layers to me.
Sure.
There's one layer to you. And so what I see is what I know and what I trust. You had to figure out if all my layers worked together, and I kept telling you they did, but it's just harder to figure out. So I think you can see how much I miss our son. Like, I just can't even believe that he's not here with us. He was with us every day. Yeah. And I think you can see how heartbroken I am that he's not here, and you can seriously and truly see like how much I love him. And then Hartley and I's relationship has just improved. It didn't really even need to improve, but it did somehow. And I think you've watched that be so consistent.
For sure. And I guess talking about that, and when I'm saying front running and fixing stuff, it's just different now. It's for different things, and it's more. It's not even a fix anymore. It's just like, what do you think about that? And I think the going, through our lives, and like if you're in a spot where if we're going to something and I know it's something that you're not going to be too happy with, you try to smooth it over or get ahead, or vice versa. If you got something that I don't really want to go to, you try to fix that. And and I think just talking about it and realizing it kind of makes you, to some extent, let the other person, just handle it, because they're adult enough too. But it also, with our kids, it's allowed us to back off and get away from it and say they're kind of gonna have to deal with this a little bit, because they're gonna have to deal with it later on anyway.
You're exactly right.
Yep.
I'm really glad that I didn't realize that you had seen that.
Yeah.
But it's kind of enchanting to me that you just said that whole thing, because you and I have not discussed it. We discussed some of it at dinner last night, but not what you just said. Right. And that's really what's been on my heart and my mind lately is, look at us. Look at us. And it's tough for me to know how to navigate that, because I want to just get on these mics and be like, look at us, because to me, I think it is such a story of hope. Like, we have come so far from somewhere we didn't even know we needed to go. I think we were happy all along the way, but we keep taking these steps. And I guess what I feel like it has placed in my heart to share is, it's not always going to be like that. Like it just like they say, it won't be like this for long. The good stuff isn't for long, and the bad stuff isn't for long. And there are so many things about our blended family and our marriage that we struggled with, and we struggled with, and we struggled with, and we didn't think it was ever going to break. And then all of a sudden we're looking at it 6 months back in time, Right. And there's been a lot of those things lately. And so just like the hope of it can get better, like it really can get better. You can teach an old dog new tricks, meaning both of us.
Right.
And just the reflecting of, gosh, that was not enjoyable when things were that way. And those things are not that way anymore.
Right. Well, for me, it's just a recognition of it, like knowing, talking about it, and that you're doing it, and at times it can be exhausting.
Yeah.
To do it, especially early on when you're trying to keep everybody happy.
Yeah.
But if you get to the point, you can recognize it and be like, I don't have to do that anymore.
Yeah.
I can just let that chip fall where it may.
Yeah.
I know it'll be okay in the end. There may be some anger and there may be some discomfort, but ultimately it's gonna smooth over and be okay. Just recognizing that you're even doing it, step one, and number two, that it will work out.
I do. I think that so much. I think because you're a big boy and you will figure it out.
Yep.
And if you don't, you'll figure, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I'm an adult and I can figure it out, and we may hear about it from each other. But ultimately, everyone needs to be doing what they need to be doing.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of times where we're scared to let each other do it because we think, well, we'll just fix it. We'll just do it. And I have noticed that a lot lately, honey, where I've just been kind of not really flitting around you and making your life perfect in certain ways. And I've seen you backing away from doing that for me, as far as I wish I had like a better example. Like even today, the cat did the weirdest thing and peed on your jeans. It's never done anything like that ever. He's mad that Lily and Henley are his people, and he's mad that they're not here. And we're not enough for him. And so he peed on your jeans. Well, you lost it. Like you were so mad. I don't have a smell, so I can't tell how bad it is. But ultimately, you let me know that it was horrific. And the smell is still not gone. And you're pissed at our cat. And you're throwing your anger around. And you're fussing and huffing and puffing. And we're trying to get to these mics. And you're huffing and puffing. And the old me would have been like, we're going to the mics. Like, I don't need you draining my cup or taking from me before we're going to the mics. Like, control your emotions so that we can be happy, get to the mics and be happy. And the truth is, honey, you don't have the power to take from my cup, and if you want to throw a fit about our cat, it has, or throw a fit that it doesn't smell better down there when I don't know the difference and I tried, that's ultimately up to you to regulate your own emotions. It's not my job to regulate them for you. And a lot of times you're not asking me to regulate your emotions, but I'm still doing it because it's all I've seen my whole life. Yeah. So I can see how that has gotten a lot better between us. And I think it just goes back to the trust and the respect that we have for each other. And Brene Brown says, like, the story I'm making up. It's like sometimes you're saying something and I'm getting defensive because I'm making this entire story up from what you're saying. And that's not what you're meaning whatsoever, because we all communicate so differently.
I'd add one more piece to that, and that, is the love part of it.
Yeah.
And I'm talking more, you're talking about us, I'm talking more about the kids.
Yeah.
It's like all those things that we try to fix for our own kids with the other parent, or fix for your kids versus mine or whatever.
Yeah.
It all worked out, every bit of it.
Yeah.
And if we would have just kept on loving them and not necessarily worry about all that, and know that with the love and the trust that they were going to just get by it and go on, and ultimately it didn't matter. But it took us several years to quit doing that
We were so uptight.
Yeah, and quit fighting that battle, either trying to make everything perfect or trying to make our kids happy.
Yeah.
Worried that they wouldn't want to stay or wouldn't want to come back. And ultimately, if you love them and you're just real with them, all that stuff works itself out. It just took us a long time to get there.
It really just does go back to the control aspect and surrendering that control,
Right.
I think it was a good dose of time, and we're just a little tired. We're so tired. But we're like, what's the worst that can happen? Somewhere along the way, we probably didn't try to control something and nothing blew up, and that we noted that,
Yeah.
I have noticed lately that, because we always want everything to be authentic and organic. And my therapist taught me the STOP method, which is just, as soon as that trigger hits or those emotions get ignited, just to stop and take about a 2-minute pulse away from the situation. And it's just so simple and so, that simple. Right. And you're like, can you have homework or something more complicated? But it's just really something as simple as stopping the momentum of the trigger. And I think we have just realized that we don't want to just keep continuing the things that we've been doing,
Yeah.
So, and then, the children in our home have started maturing and improving their emotional intelligence. And, we've started noticing that when we do let them down and we don't fix it for them, they seem to get over it so quickly.
Yep.
Where it would take us a few days with each other, it would take our kids a few hours. And we're like, oh.
And that's what I was trying to say a while ago is like, with the love and the trust, like you worry about how they're going to feel, what they're going to think. And in 2 hours, they don't even remember it, or a week later, they don't remember it, and we've worried over it and tried to fix something that didn't even need fixing.
Well, in a traditional family, kids are disappointed with their parents on a daily basis, and we just felt like that was the end of the world. Yeah. Yep. And so I think it is more of us just settling into something that looks more like an honest, true family, because we are an honest, true family.
Well, I just feel like if you're being honest with them and you truly love them and you're making an effort, that if you're wrong, it's going to work out. If you're right, it's going to
He's got us
work out. Yeah. And it's just you just have to. I mean, I think where we did those 3 things, it all worked out the way it was supposed to.
What 3 things?
Well, just loving them, and showing up all the time for them. And I don't remember what the other one was, but
the being who we say we are, like letting our yes be yes. That's what they say. They're looking for holes in that fence. They want to know, are you who you say that you are?
Well, I guess what I'm saying, if even if you're wrong with the kid, if it's truly you thought you were doing right and you love them and you're making the effort to be there for them, that it all worked out in the end every time for us. And if we could go back and realize that, 6-7 years ago, it would have made things a whole lot simpler.
Yeah.
Emotional maturity out of it. I think even when they were little, they still realize it, or it doesn't matter to them. They forgot it so quick.
But see, even in my family, words that are not backed by actions comfort us. So it's like if you're saying the right thing, or like giving the fake hug or saying the fake apology, we're like, oh, good. That's better, and so then I learned I don't want that. I don't want anything that you feel like you're supposed to say or you feel like you're supposed to do. I want something, with Henley. Henley's at school, and it's not easy to call him because he has a roommate, and he didn't want to talk in front of a roommate.
Yeah.
The first thing on my heart is I miss our son, and I don't have a lot of communication with him. The last thing I want is you saying, you need to call Jess. Like that's the absolute last thing. And I think that across the 5 of them, that's the thing that we've learned the most about each other is we don't want any type of what we started this whole conversation with is we don't want any type of fixing it for each other because we don't want anything that's inauthentic or inorganic, not organic. We want it to organically unfold into something that we can trust. And so,
go ahead.
Well, sometimes your kids will do something great, like something really great.
Well, that's what I was going to say. When they finally do what you really want to ask them to do, but you don't. And when they finally do it, it means so much more to both of us than it did if we would have said. And that we've had a lot of wins that we've silently got to celebrate together.
Way more, but I make sure before I celebrate, I'm like, did you tell them?
Oh, yeah.
And it's always, I didn't.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you're lying to me, but because I'm like, it's almost like they have my phone bugged or my bathroom bugged. Because I'm like, I just wish, I could see some glimmer of this or some hope of this. And it's like an hour later they text and I'm like, did you tell them to text? And he's always like, I did not. That's what he says. I did not. So, and then just sweet little things with my kids, like I think you went to fist bump Cash when my parents were in and he went in to hug you. Yeah. And, I don't, little things like that. I'm like, they mean so much to me. And like, we have a wedding this weekend and Liza was texting me, asking me what you were wearing. And, we're talking about being each other's dates and just think of that situation.
Yeah.
2 years ago, Lots
of difference.
Our God is so good.
Made a lot of headway.
Yeah, because you're who you say you are.
Yeah.
And you taught me to be who I say I am.
Yeah.
Yep. I think God knew what he was doing, huh?
For sure.
So anyways, it's so late. I appreciate you doing this with me. And I kind of have some news, huh?
Yep.
So it was important for me and you to sit down tonight in Wheat Plant, 2 weeks late, but for you to know that we can sit at these mics and have a conversation with very little time and very little prep, just so that we know we can do it. Because I told you, I was like, our conversation in the shower each night is a podcast because we don't do small talk. But on a similar note, I am going to be starting my own podcast. And it's something that I've been thinking about and praying about for probably a lot longer than I knew what I was praying about. And we're still going to have our show, but I'm going to have something that I don't have to schedule with you when you can get out of the field, and I can have something that is just like the Flip House, solely mine. I was talking to one of my best friends, and she was saying, with everything that you've told me, you sound like you have a creative block. And I knew as soon as she said it, it was because this is something I've wanted for a long time, but I just didn't know how to incorporate it. And so it's like the information came in, and instead of me sending it out, it just kind of stuck inside me. And so I'm going to be on a journey in the next couple of months, finding out how to get that out. Yep. The premise of the podcast stems from something I talk to you guys all the time, which is connection. And one of my other best friends, Sherry, she lives in Canada. And whenever we're kind of struggling with the distance between us, we say walkie-talkie status. Let's go into walkie-talkie status. And so she'll send me like, tonight I'm going to make this for dinner. And I'll tell her, I just went to the store and I got this shirt. We'll dictate our entire day to each other. And even though she's in Canada and I'm in Texas, we can feel like we're sitting right next to each other. And we call it walkie-talkie status. So the original, in the very beginning stages, name of the podcast is Walkie-Talkie Status Podcast. And it's just going to be a warm place to sit, much like the Huddle Co. was.
Right.
that you could sit and enjoy the conversation and feel like you're sitting at the table with us and laughing and enjoying each other. And I'm just going to bring on all of my friends that I know how to connect on a really deep level with. And we're going to lightly go deep with each other into those.
Lightly
go deep.
Yep.
That sounds dirty, huh?
Yep.
Into those.
So everybody is going to find out how allergic you are to small talk for sure.
Everyone is going to. I thought of another name for the podcast. I've been throwing around some different ones. Cher's been helping me, but my best friend from 9th grade, her name's Lean. She lives in Indiana, and we'll text each other, "Now what are you doing?" Like, even if it's a week later, we'll say, "Now what are you doing?" And she'll send me a picture of her dog, or, and it's the way for her and I to stay connected that way. And so something along the lines of that,
Yeah.
So what do you think, honey?
Very fitting. I think you're on the right track. And
Tell
I
me
think
all the words.
I think it's probably late and coming. So
it is, isn't it?
Time to hit the road.
Yeah, it is late.
You may just have to retire me and move forward.
I would rather not.
Your complex, smart brain. Let somebody else pick it besides me.
That's a good sentence.
I know it is.
Did you do it on purpose?
Absolutely.
Well, anyways, I'm really excited to see it unfold because I have the first few steps. Just going to follow down this path and see. But I know when I came to you and Cam and told you, you both knew before I did.
Yeah.
You both
Just
were,
been waiting on
and
you.
Sherry was so excited, but you both were like, "Yeah, we've been." Cam was like, "I've always thought you should have your own podcast," and I said, "Why didn't you tell me?" And then I came to you, and sorry, I told Cam before you. But I came to you and I told you about it, and I told you what Cam said, and you said, "I wanted to say the same thing."
Yeah.
So when you two people agree so much, and then Sherry was just so excited and ready to brainstorm with me. So I think what else we gonna do? Flip another house? No.
Out on that one. Time to start a podcast.
So anyways, this has been fun, honey, just sitting down to the mics with zero plans and having this conversation with you. And
yeah, I didn't even have a piece of paper. No notes at all.
You didn't even read a single question.
Nope.
I knew you didn't know we could do this, but I knew we could.
Yep.
I knew you could do it.
Well, what else you got?
I guess that's it. We need to find some dinner and some
starve.
sleep.
All right. Well, as the song says, the road goes on forever and the party never ends.
I love you.
I love you too.